Welcome back to the 127 Fit Podcast. Today's guest is a DJ. Today's guest is DJ 64. DJ 64, I want to welcome you to the 127 Fit Podcast.
What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing good, my man. So I'm super thankful and excited to have you on. You're the first DJ that I've ever had on here, so I'm really looking forward to kind of just digging into how you got into DJing, kind of the music world, and I'm excited to kind of hear about your upbringing. So DJ 64, we're going to jump right into it. The first question that I have for you is, how do you start your day?
Well, really, I try to be thankful for me even being here, honestly. Say a prayer real quick, just acknowledge why I'm here. And then I'll just plot out my day, then go from there. Sometimes I'll go put a little push-ups set in, get little sit-ups in real quick. Nothing too crazy, but yeah, just planning my day out, really.
All right, awesome, my man. Cool. So the second question that I have for you is, do you have a favorite book or a book that maybe you've gifted or given out on a regular basis?
Well, I do have this one book. My cousin gave it to me, Think and Grow Rich, from Napoleon Hill.
Yep.
That was a good one. Probably one of my favorite books. I mean, I know it's a series, but I forgot what exactly the book was called. But I know it was probably that series. And then the Steve Harvey book. It wasn't Think Like a Man.
Okay.
It wasn't that one.
Yeah,
I already know. But it was this other one, and it was like super. It was dope. It was a couple years ago. I really forgot the name. I'm terrible.
That's okay.
And then this book I'm reading right now is called Thinking Like an Agent, and so it's like real in depth on philosophy and shit like that.
Cool.
I'm real deep into philosophy.
That's awesome, dude. I love it. Now, in regards to the book by Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. That's a book that, like, if you talk to any entrepreneur or business person, anybody that's interested in wealth and just, that kind of that self-improvement, it's a book that comes up on a regular basis. So if you can kind of remember back to when you first read that book, DJ 64, what was something that you kind of took away from that book, Think and Grow Rich, specifically?
Just applying what you learn, like, from anything to what you do, really. So, like, if I were to watch, like, something from, like, say, Warren Buffett, for example, or Nipsey Hussle, to be even more specific, I would incorporate those methods into what I do. You know what I mean? Like, even though, like, they may not be a DJ, I still apply those methods to what I do. You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So, I don't really like the term, but I'll take a cookie cutter method of what they do and I'll apply it to what I do and try to match it up.
For sure. I love that, dude. That's a great takeaway. All right, so the third question that I have for you, do you have a favorite quote, mantra, or word? And then maybe because of just kind of like what you're involved in, maybe it's like a favorite, like a verse in regards to like a, or lyrics in regards to maybe a specific artist.
Well, I'm probably do two. As far as like just life goes, because like I said, I'm into philosophy. Like I studied philosophy in school, so I it's just this current term I'm really rocking with is like, they say the grass is greener on the other side, but it all depends on how you water it. You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Like, it really just depends on how you maintain your lifestyle to fit where you want to get it,
Absolutely.
But as far as like rap quotes, I'll probably go with this Lil Wayne quote. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 4 makes 8. 9 times out of 10 it's 11 or a 12 gauge. Friday the 13th, that's the day the hell raised. Y'all boys too weak, like 14 days. You know what I mean? That's like my favorite Lil Wayne quote ever.
Mm-hmm.
Shit came out in like '08.
What now for myself and for some of the listeners that are going to be listening to this that have no clue what that is or what that means, like what's kind of like the meaning behind that specific line from Lil Wayne?
I mean, honestly, like if you know Wayne, like a lot of his verses won't really like. There's not really like a deep meaning to it. Some of them are, he'll talk like Yoda, but some of them are like, damn, like it's just like lyrical flex, like, damn, bro, I didn't even know you could do that, type of thing. It's kind of like the athlete just be dunking in the gym, like LeBron likes to be dunking in the gym just cause.
Right, okay.
Like that's how I feel like Wayne does. Like he'll just flex like his lyrical ability just cause, And I mean, what that means to me is just like, it's just like I've never heard anybody, rhyme that many numbers together. You see what I'm saying? Like phonetically. So I think that's just kind of crazy to me. But yeah.
Okay, cool. Now I want to before I ask you the last question in regards to kind of the conversational warm up 6'4", you've already mentioned Nipsey Hussle. You just mentioned Lil Wayne. Are those two artists that have been impactful kind of in your musical life? And if so, kind of like what do those two guys mean to you? I know Nipsey Hussle recently passed away, but just specifically Lil Wayne, Nipsey Hussle, what do they mean to you? And then are there any other artists that have been impactful in your life?
Well, yeah, I mean it's like those two are the most influential, I'd say, when it comes to music and even like life sometimes. Like I just like there's a song by Nipsey, it's called Don't Stress Out. Like I think it's probably one of the best workout songs I've ever heard. You know what I mean? Like to songs work out to, because it's like don't stress. You know what I mean? This is a man who's seen all types of jail and death, and, made himself into a good success story, and to where it's like, you know what? Why am I stressing over, a couple bills I got? You know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
So, and so, yeah, I definitely relate that to that. And just, I mean, I can go on for hours on what I've picked up from them, like, as far as just the blueprint, And so, like, I mean, like I was saying earlier, I just take what I noticed from them, I apply it to what I'm doing.
Absolutely.
Try to fit it up to what I got going on.
Now, in regards to Lil Wayne, because I mean, I'm from a small town in Iowa, but when I was growing up, Lil Wayne was one of the guys that was just him and like T.I. and some of those type of guys.
Yeah.
They were on the top of the charts and things like that. But Lil Wayne, what is his life and maybe some of his music meant to you outside of kind of what you already said in regards to Nipsey Hussle? You kind of like take some parts of these guys and then you try to apply it to your life. But is there something special about Lil Wayne?
It's mainly like just the influence, like even outside of the music, like just the impact. Like, I would just watch like the Car 3 documentaries and like just not even, I wanted to even like live that life, but I just wanted to feel like how that goes. Like even down to the simple things.
Right.
Like wearing white tees, bro. Like white tees are like one of my favorite things to do. Like as far as like opening a pack of white tees, especially. You know what I mean? And he made that like so famous. You know what I mean? Because all he wears is white tees. You know what I mean? And so it was just little things like that. You know what I mean?
Cool. Yeah, I love it. Now, is there like an artist or somebody within that kind of the music realm here locally in Denver that you really respect and admire?
There are a few. I'm not gonna say there are a lot. I have a lot of mentors.
Okay.
I say like DJ K-Tone. DJ A-Rich, DJ Dozen. Those are a lot of DJs I look up to, like as far as, you know, guys who have paved the way. You know, even DJ Chones, I would say.
Okay.
So I'm going off of like guys I grew up listening to, like on the radio or like mixtapes, street mixtapes, and it's just like, man, like, and I've always wanted to do radio podcasts, and even when I was young, you know, I was always messing with dials and shit. And,
That's awesome.
And yeah, man, like, you know, and also I respect, you know, Trev doing this thing, and you know, cause it's just like monumental. Like you look at somebody like that, you're like, they can do it, I can do it, you know.
Absolutely, yeah.
And it's just inspirational. So, you know, we've done, you know, shows and stuff together to where it's just like, you know, you pick up certain things along the way and go from there.
Cool. I love it. All right, so 6'4", the last question in regards to kind of like our warm-up, like I mentioned a few minutes ago. Do you have...
Also, real quick.
Oh, yeah. Go
Also,
for it.
shout out to my Money Hungry team, Money Hungry Movement. You know, King LR is another one that I really admire and respect, you know, because he's, you know, he hasn't really achieved the music success, but also like, but the respect is there. You see what I'm saying? Because he, you know, knows Nipsey, you know, he knew Nipsey, and we picked up a lot of stuff from him and applied it to what we have going on.
Okay.
And you know, that's my relatives, and so I just want to shout them out real quick.
Sweet. Yeah, for sure. Love it. Yeah. All right, so do you have a favorite or most listened to podcast? And maybe if you maybe don't want to, you know, mention a podcast, or you don't listen to podcasts a lot, maybe it's somebody that's on YouTube or Instagram that's maybe kind of like one of those motivational people that you really gain a lot of value from.
Well, I would definitely say the Joe Budden podcast.
Okay.
For sure. I listen to that one consistently. Just because I feel like me and Joe Budden are very similar, because we was born on the same day. We're both Virgos. You know what I mean? That's cool. So I get it. You know what I mean? And just seeing what the progress it came from as far as what podcast means. That's like, if I were to compare it to sports or like something that's kind of hasn't been done before, I'd say on some Michael Jordan type level. You know what I mean? Like as far as the influence goes, as far as podcasts, like he was doing this back 5-6 years ago when podcasts wasn't even a thing.
Right.
You know, and for him to take it to where it's at now, doing 1 million numbers a week. You know, that's like going platinum every week.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And so you're doing that on a podcast, talking for 3 hours a day.
Yep.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
So I definitely look at that as inspiration. I like the Joe Rogan podcast. That's cool. I like I was rocking with Brilliant Idiots. Brilliant Idiots is cool.
Okay.
You know, Charlemagne is definitely like, I'd say like Larry Bird of podcasting as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
for
cool.
Sure.
That's cool.
If I were to come with some sports comparisons, yeah, for sure.
Awesome.
And then on a local level, there are a couple podcasts I rock with. For one, 127 Fit is one of them.
There we go, man. There we go.
For sure.
Love the shout out, 6'4".
Definitely, man. You know, and then also shout out to my team as well, Trash Copy Podcast. You know, that's everywhere. So that's probably one of the number one hip hop podcasts out here.
Awesome, cool. Yeah,
so,
yeah. Love it. All right, so 6'4", we're gonna kind of jump into your life story. So what I like to do on my podcast, I like to kind of just like start in the beginning, and then we just kind of move up to kind of where you're at today. Yeah. So if you don't mind sharing with myself and the 127 Fit podcast listeners, where did you grow up, and kind of like what were those earlier years like? What was school like? Just kind of just share a little bit about that if you don't mind.
Man, it was cool, man. Like I really can't complain. Like, you know, life is always crazy for everybody, so I'm not gonna sit here. But it was cool, man. Like, you know, I grew up in Montbello. I'm bouncing around from like TJ to back to Montbello, and so Got definitely some good experiences from like both sides of the city, pretty much. Seen all sides of it. So, and I grew up like around music a lot. Like even when I was 8, like I had a teacher that would take us to the studio at CC.
Okay.
You know what I mean? We had like a mini EP, at 8, and so we would be singing and shit and like performing in front of the whole school, and it was cool, like, so I definitely can attribute that to like what really motivated me to even do music. Like I didn't, like when I was 8, I didn't think like, yeah, I'm gonna be a DJ. I had it in mind that I wanted to do that. I just didn't know the possibilities of it at the time, obviously.
For sure, yeah.
And so I knew I was gonna be around music. I just didn't know how.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and then fast forward, I would always play sports and shit growing up. So I didn't really have time, or even the mentorship. Like I didn't have anybody that'd be like, hey, this is how you do this. Or
Right.
I had nobody to teach me shit until I made the effort to learn it.
Mm.
You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So, I had plenty of opportunities. Like I tell myself all the time I should have been making beats more consistently when I was 15. But, you're a kid. You're not really thinking like that type. So I'm running around trying to play football and basketball and chase that dream.
Uh-huh.
Because that was originally what I had in mind. But I didn't know my other possibilities. I didn't know that I could be successful doing other things other than sports, or going to college or something like that, or doing all types of crazy shit. Like,
right,
there was
right.
a couple possibilities.
Mm-hmm.
So, fast forward to when I was 16, I went to Montbello. I thank this advisor because they brought it up to me. It was like, we got this music production class. Like, all you do is sit and make music all day. And I was like, what? I was like, hell yeah, sign me up.
Yeah.
So, at Montbello, we had like the best drum line. And while we're talking about it, I got my cousin on my shirt, you feel me?
Mm-hmm.
His name is Q2.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Okay,
Bro,
cool.
he just passed recently.
Mm.
And so, and he was one of the coldest drummers we had,
Okay.
And I was never on the drum line. I was just like, I was just be there, because I just got to school. And so, so I would basically be in this music production class playing MPCs all day.
Okay.
That's how I learned like how to make beats. Like I started on MPC in GarageBand, and I would just, they would be trash as fuck, bro. Like they would be terrible beats, but I would still just be learning the process of how to do it.
Mm.
I'd do that 3 hours, every 3 days, like 6 hours a week, pretty much. So that was cool, man. And nobody knew that shit though. Nobody knew I made beats. Like I didn't tell nobody. It would just be something I did in class, and I didn't really do anything else with it. I wish I did earlier. Shit would have been a lot different now.
For sure,
but, it's whatever. And so like I said, I was mainly playing football and shit and going, doing all that.
Okay.
Just living, life and shit. And then when I graduated, I really didn't know what I was gonna do, bro, like at all.
Right, right.
I knew I was gonna go to college, but I just didn't know anything else after that.
Right.
So I got to Mesa, and I was, like I said, still trying to play football, but like my first couple months, I wasn't on no team or nothing. I was just in school, and so I picked up DJing randomly,
okay.
Pretty much I don't know what thought came over my head, but I was like, you know what, I'm gonna be a DJ. And so I stuck with that ever since I was 17.
Okay, cool.
And so I bought my own equipment with my refund check, when I was in college. So after that, I would just be in the process of teaching myself how to DJ. And I didn't do a party till 6 months later, So the next semester I got on at KMSA 91.3, just, doing on-air shit, just learning how to be on radio. And,
For sure.
just learning the whole process of production. And so I did that. And then after that, I would just always be around, and everybody knew I was trying to DJ and all that. And so then, like, this dude I'm not even cool with no more, he had put me on at my first event, though, you know. He put me on at my first event. I killed it. You know, it was amazing. Like, and then I was like, after that, I was like, yeah, this is what I'm doing.
Okay, so before you go any further, 6'4", I want to take a step back to kind of like your younger years, because you mentioned sports a lot, and you kind of mentioned when you were growing up, it's like you didn't really know the possibilities that were out there for you. And I think probably a lot of that has to do with just like what we see when we're growing up on TV, right? Where we see the football players, we see the basketball players. We know that, you know, music is kind of an option, things like that. But in regards to sports, what did sports kind of do for you? What did sports mean to you as a young boy? Was that kind of like where you put all of your energy and focus and effort, or was it just something more that you did kind of for fun?
That was everything, man. It was. I mean, I didn't have the best. Like, you know, as a kid, I didn't have the best like tutelage as far as sports goes. Like, it was there. Like, I had, you know, people in my corner that would help me. You know, one of my first football, or my second football coaches, he's actually a mentor of mine, DJing as well.
Oh, awesome!
Yeah, his name Coach Julio. He coaches at the. He actually runs the Coop Boys and Girls Club now.
Okay, cool.
And so shout out to him. Like, he, you know, taught me some things along the way. But he taught me, like, you know, leadership and mentorship and, you know, just overall leadership skills you need to know playing football. And that's what I picked up, you know, from him. And, you know, my dad, he would try to do a little something here and there when I was younger. But, yeah, I mean, sports was always big, like, you know, from when I was about 8 or 9 to when I was pretty much now. But as far as, like, playing it, when I was till 16, 17.
Okay.
But yeah, it was fun, man. Like, I played football at TJ, did a little basketball. When I transferred to Montbello, I did a little track.
Okay, cool.
Also, shout out to my track coach, track and football coach, Coach Galen. He just lost his son just a couple days ago, man. So rest in peace to Galen, man. They was real influential as far as like staying fit and active.
For sure, yeah.
And he would, you know, I would see him all the time in the morning. Like, you know, he would always have us working out, and his son would be there. And, you know, his son was a wrestler. And so, like I said, he would be our defensive end coach. So, and he would teach us different techniques and all that. And definitely a lot of leadership skills, like I said, I can take along with me and pass along to younger generation.
For sure, yeah. Now, in regards to kind of like, you know, you're out here in Colorado. So was like the Broncos, was like the Denver Broncos? Is that kind of your team?
Oh,
or did you?
Yeah, for sure. That's my squad, man. That's my squad. You know, I like the 49ers a little bit, you know, because my uncle used to play for them.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, and it's the only team of his that he played for that I liked. You know, he played for the 49ers, and I mean, the 49ers is the Steelers and the Vikings.
Wow, sweet.
Yeah, and so he was like one of the first black, one of the first black NFL players from Denver.
Wow, cool.
Yeah, Adrian Cooper Jr. So, you know, I definitely like thought I was gonna be like, you know, the next in the family to do that. You know,
for sure.
You know how that works out. But yeah, that was definitely an influence as well. Just seeing like, cause he went to Oklahoma back in the day.
Wow, sweet.
With Barry Switzer. So like that was when they was like cold.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah, for sure. That's great. Okay, so I appreciate you touching on kind of like the sports in your childhood a little bit, 6'4". So let's kind of jump back into kind of where we left off in regards to you had that opportunity with the individual you said you're not cool with anymore, but he gave you that opportunity, and you said you kind of killed that opportunity. So let's just continue in your story in regards to DJing.
Oh yeah, man. Like even to this day, like that's the good thing. That's the beauty of it. To connect with people, like people still to this day bring that up. You know, that I went to college with, they still, you know, ask, like, you still DJing? And I asked them, like, did Michael Jordan play basketball? Of course. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm still doing it. You know what I mean? I love this shit so bad, you know?
Right, yeah.
So it's like, of course, I'm still going to be doing it. And, you know, and so from then on, I was like the campus DJ pretty much.
Okay.
As far as hip hop goes, I was like the number one hip hop DJ out there. And it was only but two of us. Maybe that might have been it. I was probably the only one that was consistent, so I can't really like claim that title.
Right.
You know, but yeah, you know, I mean, it was cool. Like it was definitely fun for that time, for that time period. Like we did some amazing things there, but it was just not for me as far as the city goes, but. Definitely the experience was there, for sure.
Sweet.
DJing in college.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about kind of like post college. And so when you got done with college, what did life have for you at that time?
Man, I wasn't really done with college. I was just done with where I went.
Okay.
And so, you know, and I got into a little trouble like when I moved back to Denver, because being, you know, in school all your life and you know, you like, damn, what am I, you know, all of a sudden I'm out of school. I don't have to go to school no more.
Right.
I've been going to school for 22 years straight. And now all of a sudden I don't have to go to school. And so it was like, damn. So I had all this free time.
Right.
Started getting into some weird shit and went to jail. So I was like, damn. So I looked at myself, I was like, damn, I need to go back to school. Well, when I was in jail. And so I was only in there for like a couple of days, but it was like, the timing was so bad because it was 420. Me and my man, we were booked to DJ that night. So we ended up missing our event because we was in jail. We missed like a whole video shoot. My man Gas Rod, you know what I mean? He was shooting a video in the hotel room. We missed that. It was a dope video. But so yeah, we ended up missing that. And so at that point, bro, I was like, man, I'm gonna go back to school. So I got out, I went to Carter Media School. That was probably the first thing I did when I got out of jail. I went to Carter Media School, signed up, and yeah. And so I learned like a lot more about radio. Like I knew about radio from before, like 'cause I had a good mentor at college, at Carter Mesa College, Regis Tucci, rest in peace. He's probably one of the dopest radio people I've ever met. Like people in general. You see what I'm saying? He's like one of those mentors in college, like people wish they can run into.
For sure.
He's one of those for me, you know? And so he taught me like everything about radio dating back to like 1800s and shit.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm hip to, you know, to that. But like I said, I went to Carter Media School and that was a great experience, you know. That's where I met A-Rich. He really taught me like a lot more of like what it means to be a radio DJ, you know, instead of like a club or a street DJ. And so I learned like that back end of things, what it takes. And so that was cool. And picked up a lot of things in the meantime. Like I do video and graphic design as well.
Okay.
From that, picking up just from that. Like I didn't even know I wanted to do that, so I got there. You know, and so that was another passion that sparked for me. Like so now I do videos for people. And so before I even graduated Carter Media School, I did a video for Waka Flocka.
Okay.
And you know, a lot of videos for AEG, and just doing a lot of shit around the city after
for
that.
Sure.
You know, it just picked up like my momentum and a lot of stuff from there. So it was definitely good experiences, man, throughout the years, especially going to school and stuff.
Right.
You know.
So I want you kind of mentioned you got into some, what you said, kind of like some weird stuff, and you spent a couple days in jail. You know, just like as you look back on kind of like your young life or whatever,
Yeah.
have there been has there been like a couple of times that you kind of look back and they were some hard times, some difficult times, maybe some struggles, but as you look back, it's like, hey, I really learned this, or I really learned that during those hard times. What are a couple of those instances or circumstances that you found yourself in the past that were difficult, that you've kind of been able to take some things away and apply that just so that you can be a better version of yourself?
Well, yeah, man. I mean, it's really like I try not to like dwell on it like I do, like because I'm a Virgo and you overthink things a lot. So I have a tendency to do that, but I have to get out of my head. Sometimes I'll be like, man, if you wouldn't have done that, that wouldn't have got you this. Like I was, doing some dumb shit, just like scamming, doing some identity theft shit. It was bad.
Yeah.
So that's what got me into jail in the first place, and so that told me like, man, just need to focus, on my craft more, and that's what inspired me to level up and do things a lot better. And so yeah, man, I mean that definitely what I say, it takes all the bad shit in life to appreciate the good things,
For sure, yeah.
And so that's what helps me, get through like the bad times in life. And like I was saying with Nipsey, like that "Don't Stress" song, that's probably one of my top 5 favorite rap songs ever. Just because it, like it'll be alright. It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be another day to where you can make your situation better.
So what is kind of like this whole profession, or however you kind of want to word it, in regards to DJing? Like what is, like, when you DJ, when you're like, if you're on the radio or if you're in a club, what does it do for you 6'4"? Like, does it just like kind of like light you up? Does it, like, what does it kind of do inside for you personally? Because there's obviously a huge passion for DJing and music and sounds and things like that for you. Just what goes on inside of you when you have that opportunity to do what you love?
Man, it's just every day I do that, it just makes me happy that I can do that for somebody. Like, because when I'm DJing it doesn't matter, like, either you're 5, you're 80, either you're a guy or you're a lady. You know what I mean? You're gonna rock to it because I'm into it, because I noticed from my times of not being a DJ, that made me like, okay, I need to do this. Oh, they like that. Okay, I'm gonna keep that. Like, even with social media, like it's a rush for me. Like, it's an insane rush. Like, I'll be on social media all day, just trying to figure out what people are listening to. You see what I'm saying? Like, I'll screenshot what people say they listen to. Then they pull up to my event, I'm playing that shit. They be like, damn, I didn't even, you know what I mean? They're like, it's just that surprise element of what I'm going to play next. That's the rush that keeps me going, I'll even surprise myself sometimes, and it really, like, drives me like an insane, like, you see The Wolf of Wall Street?
Yeah, of
like,
course.
I'm like that, I'm like that mentally, like, as far as how I get myself into it. Like, I really, like, there's certain things I do to get myself in that mode. And, working out is sometimes one of them. But, like, I really get, like, a sick mental, like, drive out of it. Like, kind of like Tom Brady turning the cycle of Tom.
Right, yeah.
That's kind of how I get. You know what I mean? When I'm DJing, bro.
Kind of like an alter ego almost.
Kind of, yeah. But it's not like an asshole.
Right, of course.
Not an asshole, your alter ego.
Right, yeah.
So I try to, like, get into that type of mind frame. Like, I look at it like this girl told me, a couple of homies told me years ago, like, the DJ is like the quarterback of the club, And so,
I like that.
And so, you got your bottle girls like the cheerleaders, and the rappers like the wide receivers, because they're all about that.
I like
you see
that,
what I'm saying?
I do. I hear you, man. That's good.
And I'd say the security guards or the old linemen, you need them. You feel me? And I'd say the promoters like the running back, because you gotta get it in. You gotta score. You feel me?
For sure.
So I look at it as that, man. Like, I try to, and sometimes, like, I'll try to get my promoter back. I'll try to be a running quarterback like Lamar Jackson.
There you go, dude.
Dual threat.
I love it.
Dual threat. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So, but yeah, man. Like, like that's how, like that's the mentality I approach it with, man. Like, every time, like, And my thing is, I want to surprise you with what I'm gonna play. Like I was on a 16th Street Mall, you know, I'm having little kids dancing to Michael Jackson and Prince, you know, for little 5-year-olds. Like they don't even know where this came from.
Right.
They know
right.
they love it.
Mm.
So that's where I'm at with it, you know.
Mm-hmm. So, you know, because I just, you know, I don't really understand this whole game or world of DJing, and that's why.
Game.
What's that?
It's not a game. I'm not here to play.
No. No, I know you're not playing, but just like this whole world of DJing, I don't necessarily get it or understand it, and there's probably going to be a lot of listeners on my end that don't understand or to get it. Yeah. So just kind of like the technical, behind the scenes aspects of how do you kind of create this music for the clubs or for you know radio, like. How do you come up with just like what you play? Is it just by hearing different sounds? Like just break down a little bit for us 6'4", kind of the mechanics of everything, if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah, so I put in an insane amount of hours just on the production level, just like as far as just making music, just so I know like what can get people dancing.
Okay.
You know, and so I look at it as there's like different heart rates, you know, that get people going. It's like 120 is like your average heart rate. So if I'm playing like a song around that BPM, that's gonna get you going 90% of the time. Like there's been a couple times I can count on my hands where I played a 120 type of BPM to where people didn't dance.
Okay.
You know, and so that's kind of the BPM I try to start with just to get the shit's going. I call it the shit starter. You know, you gotta have the shit starter every time. You know, you gotta have that one that's gonna be like it's gonna like the beat is amazing and it gets people going, but at the same time it's not redundant to where I'm like, damn, I heard this on the radio before I got here. That's the last thing you want.
Okay.
Is to play shit that people heard on the way here, and they got to hear it again.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Yep, I do.
Sometimes it's cool, like if it's a #1 song, you have to play it. But in most times, like you would want to catch the listener off guard on as far as what they listen to, you know. And that's just like the sonic level of it. So if we get the mechanical part of it, like got to have the turntables right, you know, you got to have the BPMs right and all that. And so I make sure, like, I don't go all the time, but I make sure I go to my high DJ supply because we actually have like a DJ night where we practice and like no ego involved. We just learn at scratch and just get the craft right.
Okay.
You know, so that's what I'm about, man, because it's all about the craft, you know, because I would hate for somebody to come on their birthday and I mess up for some reason, you know, I mess their birthday up because then they're going to remember that shit, you know.
For sure.
So, technical part of it is something I definitely stress the most, you know, as far as getting the equipment right and getting the fine-tuned details right as far as the sound goes. Like, and so that's the part that people don't see. It's like, you know, you have the igloo on top, I mean the iceberg on top, then you have all the shit underneath, you know. But so people don't understand, like getting crates in, getting speakers, getting the right chords, you know, chords matter. You know, there's a lot of different shit that people may not take into account if they were to be like, hey, I'm going to become a DJ. Sounds good until you have to stay up till 3 in the morning getting your shit right for the next day. Say you have an event early that day. You see what I'm saying? Or later that day, you have to get your shit together to where it's like, you know, I'm A1, you know, because like I said, everybody want to be a DJ until it's time to be one.
For sure.
You know?
Yeah, that's with anything in life, right?
Yeah, for sure, you know. So it's, you know, it's one of those things like I take pride in as far as learning the behind the scenes things because that's what really matters. You know, I even like take time to learn how speakers work and how their, you know, different components work and how they bounce off of people.
Yeah.
And that shit is so important, man. You know, placement of the speakers, very, very little details people may not even think about. Those are the things I stress myself over.
So how did you kind of learn I know you've used the word mentor several times with some of your earlier coaches, and then when you're in college. So how did you kind of learn, or was it something that was just kind of inside of you as far back as you can remember? How did you kind of learn to pay attention to those smaller details so that you could be the best DJ that you can be?
It was around the time I got to Carter Media School, like A Ridge.
Okay.
Like I said, when I learned what it takes to be a radio DJ, I took more notes as far as what that takes, because it takes a lot more. It's a lot more rules, and it's a lot more guidelines you have to follow.
Okay.
With being a radio DJ, like with being a street and club DJ, like there's a lot of things you don't really have to do, but like with becoming a radio DJ, like there's a lot of stuff you have to do, like that is essential. Like you have to have the right edit, you have to have the right BPM, you have to have the right tempo with the exact edit. And when I say edit, I mean like it may sound like the right song, but then like there may be something very, very little that may turn it into something else. Like some producer may have remixed the song. You got it off of, and where you go to get it, where you go to get the music is the most important thing as well. Like I learned like I said, when I got to Carter Media School, I learned that you got to get a DJ record pool. Like before I got there, I didn't really pay attention to that. I just get my music from wherever I got it from. But the record pool is important because instead of you getting a song from YouTube that may skip or cut out early or do something weird that somebody didn't pay attention to on YouTube, it's more paid attention to on the record pool side of things. It's more professional and it's better sound quality. And so those are the things that I really had to take heed of.
For sure. So in regards to kind of like your own personal style of DJing, how do you kind of formulate that, like your style? Because like there's I'm assuming just like with football players or basketball players, with all of us human beings, we've kind of got our own flavor, we've got our own style.
Yeah.
So how did you and how have you developed your own style when it pertains to being a DJ?
Well, pretty much, first thing is just not playing what the other DJ would play.
Okay.
That's the big thing. Like that's like one of the biggest things actually is to have your own song selection. Like I have people say all the time, like, damn, I forgot about that song, or your song selection is so amazing. It's just like from how I pick the songs, is like a different, like I said, a different element I try to approach it with, like kind of how the Patriots pick their plays.
For sure.
It's how I pick my songs,
Okay.
I try, that's how I think. But then I try not to think about it too much. Because then you overthink and mess up, So I try to have a good balance as far as what I pick and how I play it,
Right.
I'm probably the most versatile DJ though, for sure, because I can play everything from vinyl to a controller, and if something happens with that, I can play on my laptop if I need to. And make it sound like I'm playing on vinyl, And, my producer side of things helps me because I'm also not only tapping in the DJ community, I'm tapping in the producer community as well. So I know what beats will hit at different times and which ones won't. And just getting, the whole vibe together, I really enjoy that. And my style is, I would say, like, very underground, but with like a mainstream sound.
Okay.
Yeah, it can vary. Like I can't really put a finger on it because like I've played an all Spanish set before, like with ease. I played a whole rock set with ease.
Interesting.
Like a whole disco set with ease. I'm talking like no any other types of music in that time period, like literally just rock, or literally just Spanish. And then I have times where I'll do open format and I'll mix them all together. So we'd be
Okay.
like, damn, I didn't even know you can do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay, cool. Now, you know, who are some maybe like quote unquote famous DJs that maybe some of us that just listen to the radio or just listen to like kind of some mainstream music, who are some like famous DJs that some of us that aren't kind of in your world might be familiar with?
Um,
Is DJ Khaled one? Is he like a legit DJ or is that just like a name?
no, he is. He's like one of those graduated DJs.
What? No. What do you? Okay. You gotta. What does that mean?
Well, he's graduated. Like he's an executive now, so he don't really like. I mean, I'm sure he still DJs like
Okay.
sometimes, but he's, you know, he's like on a different level. Like he's trying to create Jordans.
Right.
He has his own shoe. You know what I mean?
But he started kind of like
Yeah.
where you're at, right?
Oh, for sure.
Okay.
For
Cool.
sure he
cool.
did, you
Okay.
know?
Beautiful. Yeah.
So that's what gives me inspiration, you know.
Absolutely.
He definitely, like, I'm not gonna ever take anything away from what he did and say he's not a real DJ.
Mm-hmm.
You know, lately he hasn't been, you know, in that bad lately. I mean, but it happens even for me sometimes. Like, you know, I may be too focused on producing or too focused on doing videos that I may have took like a week or a couple of days off of DJing, and sometimes it'll show.
Right. Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Even with the best of the best, it'll show.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like I seen Khaled mess up a whole set in front of 20,000 people.
Mm.
You know, so it's like, you know, it's one of those things like, you know, I don't know. I mean, like as far as mainstream DJs go, like DJ Drama, DJ Mustard, definitely guys up there, you know. But there are also some female DJs that be killing it though.
Mm.
You know, like DJ Diamond Cuts, like she was on, like she's probably one of my favorite female DJs ever, just overall. Like she was on BET, Rap City, The Basement, all that back in the day.
Are there some local here, kind of in the Denver area, female DJs that you have a lot of respect for?
For sure, like Simone Says, DJ Simone Says, DJ J Love, CJ Bella Scratch, Code. Like they're better than a lot of guys out here. Like I'll see them out DJing, I'll be like, man, I gotta step my shit up.
That's awesome.
You feel me?
Yeah, for
like,
sure.
So they'll apply a little pressure, you know what I mean? So those are some I definitely respect.
Okay,
for
cool,
sure.
cool. Who's and this can be, you know, in the DJing world. This can be musically. It can business. However you want to take it. 6'4". But who's kind of like that one person that you really look up to and you really appreciate, kind of like what they say, how they live their life. What's that one person for you in whatever world or realm you want to take that?
Man. One person.
Is there maybe somebody somebody that's on Instagram? You know what I mean? Somebody that's like kind of like has a pretty powerful, social media following or influence, or anybody that you appreciate maybe in that sense?
Like I just like there's a guy I've been following for a little second named Ross Mack. I was just listening to it because he has like a financial wealth empowering podcast.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
So he'll answer questions from regular people who have questions about being financially literate.
For sure.
And so I like that. And he'll also incorporate hip hop into it as well.
Okay, cool.
To make it digestible to the audience.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So I like that for sure. He's one of the cats I've been following lately.
Is that something that you are trying to expand and learn more about in your personal life? Is kind of like finances and wealth and all that?
Oh, for sure, man.
Okay.
Because we didn't have nobody teaching us that. Like I had an economics class. It touched on a couple things in high school.
Of course, yeah.
Like
yeah.
everybody did, but other than that, it wasn't nothing to where people actually tried to help us.
Of course, yeah.
With stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we had like at Montbello, we had counselors and guys that would come in and share life experiences, and try to be that father figure a lot of us didn't have, which I appreciate. But there were a lot of information that we never got until recently. And so, I'm just catching up on a lot of those things and trying to incorporate those in my everyday life.
Mm-hmm.
So when I have kids, I can, it'll just be second nature,
Absolutely, yeah.
That's what it's about.
So you talked about I believe Coach Julio. That's one of the guys you mentioned earlier. You mentioned I think one or two other coaches that were like kind of like maybe father figures or mentors to you is the word that you used.
Yeah.
Is that something 6'4" as you continue to progress as a human being, when you have your own kids, when you have maybe some more opportunities, maybe going to some of these local Denver public schools and things like that, is that something that really interests you in giving back to the next generation?
Oh yeah, man. I love that shit, bro. I love the kids, man. I'm really good with kids, and I really enjoy doing things for them. Just little things, I taught an engineering class for a little second over the summer, like a couple years ago.
Awesome.
Just connecting with the kids, really, just sharing my experiences with them and not trying to talk at them.
Right.
Trying to talk with them and learn from them. Because that's what we can do. Like, I hate, because I grew up around adults that would be like, oh, this is the way, this is the answer. I don't care what you have to say, this is it. You see what I'm saying? But I'm trying to unlearn some of those things because that's not right. Like, nobody knows everything, regardless of how old you are,
Absolutely.
So I'd be like, I really try to take the time to learn from these kids and try to pick their brains as far as what they like.
For sure.
That's what keeps me young. Like the homie told me this a couple years ago. It was like the rule of thirds, whatever.
Okay.
So 33% of your time you spend with a mentor, learning from them. The other 33% of the time you're learning from people who are at your level, peers at the same level you're at. And then the other 33% of the time you spend with somebody younger than you. Teach them something,
Powerful, yeah.
And then the other 1%, you just get some pussy.
Okay. All right, my man. Okay, so let's transition to a little bit, because you mentioned in the beginning, kind of like you have a pretty big interest in philosophy. Is that correct?
Yeah.
What kind of like piqued that interest for you, and then like what kind of like fascinates you in regards to philosophy, and why do you spend that time digging into philosophy? And then what are some of those philosophies that you study or you really appreciate?
Man, I had a teacher in Mesa, and I'm drawing a blank right now. I can't remember his name, but he was like so powerful with the way he would speak about philosophy. Like, man, it would make you want to learn the shit, Like a lot of teachers or professors, they wouldn't make me interested. They just be like, you have to learn this, figure it out.
Right.
But he would be like, this is what this is essential, and it would really pique my interest for sure. As far as like, I was always into conspiracy theories and like my own beliefs of certain things.
Right.
But that really like molded like how I feel about philosophy and just overall thinking of how people should be. And it's just, yeah, man, it's like a rabbit hole that's like it's never ending fun.
Right.
To me, of like what philosophy is. Like that, it's just because the possibilities are so endless of what you can come up with as far as what you think for something like that, like how ethics are, stuff like that.
For sure.
That stuff really like fascinates me. I think about that shit all the time. Like, even and like I said, I try to apply it to what I'm doing now. Like, I try to apply ethics to what I do. You know what I mean? Like, because there are certain things I won't do as a DJ. There are certain things I won't do as a producer, just to maintain that integrity.
Of course.
Yeah,
so in regards to philosophy, what's some philosophy that you like to dig into? What's some of that philosophy that you've maybe learned about and you've kind of adapted to kind of like your belief system as a man?
Just being good to people overall.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's the most. I know it's pretty basic, but I mean, it's as simple as I can break it down. Like, just being good to people, like having great intentions.
Mm-hmm.
Being impeccable with like your intentions, and it's hard.
It's
hard,
is, dude.
It's
yeah.
hard as hell because people don't. It's not. Sometimes people won't believe your intentions.
Right.
So it's like, even though you can portray it as clear as day, they still won't believe you. Because people have major trust issues. Like, I get it. I do as well. So it's like, it's just really getting your message across in the best way possible,
Mm-hmm.
to where people will feel you. Like, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. And I'm a firm believer in that. And so I'm terrible at the way I say things. I'm a Virgo, and it comes out like unfiltered and raw sometimes. Like, I'll tell you, like, bro, what are you doing?
Right.
And it'll really like sound like I'm chastising, but really I'm just correcting because I love you. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's
Mm-hmm.
where I try to keep it. Is speaking out of love.
Right. So how do you so you kind of just mentioned about like kind of like your message, like what's trying to figure out your message, putting your message out there for you 6'4". What is your message, like outside of kind of like DJing, just you personally, if you had one message to kind of share with the listeners, with the world, what is that one message for you personally?
And just learn from not only your mistakes, but learn from others. Like, I see a lot of dudes, getting locked up these days and dying for certain things. And I just learn from it, man. Like, I try to grow from it as best I can. Like, I try to take really what happened and, like, really process that shit and, like, really be present in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And really thinking about things before I do them,
For sure.
And so that's really what it comes down to, man. Like, that can make or break you, especially doing what I'm doing now. Like, it's like essential, like, to be a servant of the people.
Mm.
I would say that, like, be a servant of the people as far as, I mean, not so much as a people pleaser, but like just doing right by people.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I mean by that. And also being true to yourself. Like, I know people say all the time, but like serving yourself as far as what's going to help you grow, and focus on that.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I would say.
I love that. That's good. Now we're getting close to an hour with our conversation, so we're gonna kind of move towards the end here. A couple more things that I'd like to touch on with you. Now, and you can kind of take this however you want to take it, but as just as a society and as a culture, and for myself, like I'm a white dude, right? You're a black guy.
Yeah.
I hear, because I listen to a lot of podcasts. I'm very in tune with kind of like in one level. I'm not really into like the politics and all that, but I'm very in tune with just what people are saying, the messages that people are putting out in the world. I personally lived in inner city Detroit for almost a year. I worked with youth in the for the YMCA in downtown Detroit. So for the first time in my life, this was 2014 when I moved out there, I was a minority, right?
Mm-hmm.
And living in any inner city, but something like Detroit, like it was literally a culture shock for me personally, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what I just kind of want to explore with you and kind of get your side of the story is, with all of this different stuff that's going on in regards to kind of like race in our country, we have the different like the police shootings and then the police brutality, and we've got all these kind of these things that are out there in regards to race. How do you look at that? Because when I hear, I listen to there's a couple of podcasts by former NBA players, and sometimes they'll talk about some different things, and I hear the black community talking one way, and then I hear like the white community talking another way. And I'm all about people. It doesn't matter, how you talk, the color of your skin. We all need to come together as humans to help each other, to serve each other, to use the word that you just used. So how do you look at things in regards to just being a black man in the culture we're living in today? How do you look at things? How do you interpret things? How do you kind of work through some of that negativity that's out there?
Well, I mean, really just going back to what I was saying, man, just being a good person to people. Because me and my cousin Keith and my cousin Q, we would talk all the time, like what would aliens do if they would come here?
Mm-hmm.
What would they say, or like how would they treat us? And personally, I feel like they would look at us like, you motherfuckers are tripping.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, you guys aren't ready for any of this. Like, you don't even know we have some intergalactic shit about to go down.
Right.
And you guys over here arguing about money.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Arguing about some bullshit. Like, we have some really crazy shit we can evolve for y'all real quick. But y'all over here worried about who's hating on who, or who's talking about who, and all this bullshit that really doesn't matter. You know what I mean? And I just feel like if we focused on what matters, that would help, because it's really like you said, bro, it's not about color, it's not about anything like that, bro.
Right,
it really comes down to the human condition.
Absolutely.
And protecting that shit, And we don't protect that shit at all. Like, we're out to kill each other over bullshit, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we just, like I said, bro, we just lost one of my good people. Like I said, Lil Galen lost his life over something that wouldn't even last to a year, or a month maybe. I'm just like, it's just like, what is life? I ask myself, like, and like I said, me and my man used to talk all the time. We used to be like, we're all one of one life.
Absolutely.
So we have to act like that sometimes, like we're really like connected, but we want to disconnect over some bullshit, shit that really doesn't matter, and like I said, this could really hit the fan here soon, bro. Like it's not even about like racism no more. It's about classism. Like classism is the next decade. That's gonna be the big that's gonna be a bigger problem than racism ever was.
Right.
I promise you.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's just one of those things, bro. I just it's ugly. It's one of those ugly things you have to accept as a fact. I guess that people are gonna be ugly. For every eight people, there's gonna be some bullshit ass energy there. And we have to acknowledge that and try to keep it positive, I guess.
Right, for sure. Cool. I appreciate you sharing your perspective and kind of your message on that.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like just the one thing that's sticking in my mind right now. 6'4" is kind of like what you've said. Your message overall is just be a good person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, like we've both kind of just mentioned, it's like we're all human beings, and the more we bring in that negativity or we bring in that divisiveness, like it just messes everything up. You know what I mean? But if we can just really lock arms, so to speak, hold each other's hands, hold each other up. And walk in the power of love, the power of unity. We can accomplish so much more together, because I'm a firm believer that we were created by a creator, and we're all connected, and if we're meant for that, we're meant for that unity. We're meant to be connected with one another, and that's where there's so much power in that,
Yeah.
So. Cool. So 6'4", I just want to kind of give you the platform in kind of wrapping things up and closing things. I want to kind of just give you the platform. You've kind of already shared your message in regards to just being a good person, but And we've covered quite a few topics. I feel like we've had a pretty thorough conversation. You've been able to touch on your story, DJing and all that. Is there anything that we haven't covered that you just kind of want to put out to the listeners, put out to the world? Maybe kind of just some final words.
Shit, man. I just want to say, rest in peace to all my guys that are gone. You know, we gonna live it up for you. Rest in peace, Keith. Rest in peace to Galen, man. Everybody we lost last year, you know, it's been crazy, man. And so it's just really, I just plan to make 2020 better. One day at a time, bro, because we really don't know. So, I mean, that's really what it comes down to. One day at a time and just love each other, man. Screwhouse 2. You like Screwhouse 2?
Dude, I don't even know what that is.
It's the thing I sent you last night.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Project.
Dude, I'm sorry.
Nah, you good.
I'm like, I don't even know what you're talking about.
Nah, Screwhouse 2.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, man, that was a project we put together. Me and Keith, like, he was there with me every day while I was making that shit, bro. Like, it took like a whole year and some changes to come up with. And it's just, and he would ask me, like, man, how are we gonna get to 2064? You know what I mean? Randomly asking that shit, bro. I'm like, man. And so I thought about that shit, and so I thought about how to get there. I don't know the answer because we're not there yet, but I feel like being just true to yourself will get you to your next thrill, pretty much. So, with that being said, Screwhouse 2 is out on all platforms. It's an instrumental house tape. So it's on dj64.com, dj6ix4.com. So that's where you can find that. It's on Titles, Apple, Spotify, SoundCloud, everywhere, man. YouTube. Tap in with me. Sure.
Cool. And like your Instagram, did you
at DJ6ix4? It's all the same.
Perfect.
Same spelling. First one you're gonna see. First and only one.
Cool. I love it, man. So 6'4", I appreciate you making the trip over here to Edgewater to share your story, man. I appreciate the message you shared. And I'm just looking forward to keeping in touch with you, whether that's in person or through social media. So thank you.
Man, bro, we might have to do like a fitness party or something.
That'd be awesome, dude. Honestly though, because I lived down in Colorado Springs the last couple of years. I was a school teacher, and I'm personal training up here now. But I have a huge passion for the next generation. That's kind of why I asked you a little bit about your interest in youth, because, dude, it would be because actually right here in Edgewater where I live, right up the road, there's a high school. But even some of these public high schools in Denver, I mean, there's a lot of youth that are struggling. And if we could work together in regards to bringing some, because music, whether it's like the DJing or somebody singing, whatever, music is such a powerful medium. And if you and I and some of my people and your people, however you want to kind of look at that and word that, if we could kind of come together and kind of go into some of these schools just to really share a powerful message and share our gifts with the next generation, I think that would be cool. So I'd love to maybe after we get done here talk about that.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool.
Definitely with that.
Awesome. So 6'4", thank you, 127 Fit podcast listeners. Once again, I want to thank you so very much for hanging out with 6'4" and myself on the 127 Fit podcast. Your listening ears are always greatly appreciated. If you want to find out more about the guests and myself personally that I'm bringing onto the 127 Fit podcast, you can find all of that on Instagram. It's at 127 Fit. If you want to, just find out a little bit more about me solely, you can find me on Facebook. It's at Quentin Vars. LinkedIn is Quentin Vars. If you guys would do a huge favor for me and please leave a 5-star rating and review and also subscribe to the podcast, that would be cool. If you think you would be a great guest, or if you have a friend or an acquaintance you think would be a great guest or guest for the 127 Fit podcast, please just send me an email or give this email out. The email is 127fit@gmail.com. And as you guys, which I know you are, finding great value in a specific episode or episodes of the 127 Fit podcast, just take that specific episode or episodes and share it on your Facebook and Instagram stories using the hashtag #BeSomeoneToFollow. And per the usual, I will leave you with Proverbs 24:10, which states, if you faint in the day of adversity, your strength is small. This time until next time, I will catch you guys later.